Read every other line. When you're reading stuff, read every other line. It goes much faster.
Welcome to the Raleigh Board of Selectmen meeting for Monday, November 13th, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall on Main Street in Raleigh, Mass. Call the meeting to order. The first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is being video and audio recorded and televised live on Raleigh Community Media. And we're going to aim for 7:05 to 7:10 for public comment. We have a joint meeting at 7:15 with the Board of Assessors. We have an appointment at 7:30 that has been postponed. We have a 7:45 appointment, and we will go right to general business. Somewhere in here. Okay, general business number 1, authorize Police Chief Scott Dumas to sign the fiscal year 18 training grant and EMD/regulatory compliance state grant contract form. The police chief has received the state fiscal year 18 training grant and EMD regulatory compliance state grant package. To authorize Chief Dumas to sign the grant package, the Board of Selectmen needs to vote to authorize Police Chief Scott Dumas to sign the grant documents. Chairman Joseph Perry will then need to sign the contractor authorized signatory listing sheet. It is tagged.
Give me the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to authorize Chief Dumas to sign the grant document and for me to sign the contractor authorized signatory listing sheet. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Left or right, doesn't matter?
I don't have a copy of it. It's
Oh, I see.
at the bottom.
Sorry. I like it when I have to fill in CEO for the MSBA. Makes it a lot easier. Okay, moving on to general business number 2. We have a letter of resignation from Reserve Dispatcher Rachel Ayer. Dear Chief Dumas, I am writing to you to formally give my resignation from my position as a reserve dispatcher for the Raleigh Police Department. Whereas a 2-week notice was given on Sunday, October 15th, 2017. I have been offered a full-time position that unfortunately will not allow me to work the required hours at the department. Working with you all for the last 2 years was an opportunity that I sincerely appreciate, and I want to give everyone my sincere thanks for the hospitality and for the knowledge that I have gained during my time there. Regards, Rachel Ayer.
Give you a motion, Mr. Chairman, and
Second.
send a letter with a request.
Motion has been made and seconded to send a letter of regret, with regret.
With-
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have a letter of resignation from Reserve Patrolman Noah Merrow. Dear Chief Dumas, please accept this letter as formal notification. I am leaving my position as Reserve Patrolman with the Raleigh Police Department on November 7th, 2017. Thank you for the opportunities you have provided me during my time with the department. If you need any other assistance from me, please let me know. Sincerely, Noah Merrow.
Give your motion, Mr. Chairman, with the same second regret.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And what follows? Resignations? Regarding hiring freeze, dear Board, due to a recent resignation of a reserve police officer, I am asking the Board of Selectmen to lift the hiring freeze to replenish the reserve pool. Respectfully, Scott A. Dumas, Chief of Police.
Motion.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to lift the hiring freeze. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And it's now 7:06, and public comment is now available. Going on to old business number 1, an update on the Pine Grove School project. The Pine Grove School Building Committee is holding a community public meeting. Everybody's invited on Thursday, November 16th at 7 p.m. in the all-purpose room at the Pine Grove School. The project architects from Durham Whittier and the representatives from W.T. Rich, the general contractor, will be updating the community on the progress of the project. Members of the public are invited to attend. I strongly urge you, you will be amazed at what the project has turned into, and I think we're really getting quite a bit for our investment. On other project news, the site plan permitting is progressing. The project civil engineers from Niche Engineering have been working closely with conservation agent Brent Bazelak and the town's technical review agent Larry Graham on the notice of intent and the stormwater management permit. The project engineers have asked the Conservation Commission to continue the continued public hearing scheduled for tomorrow evening to their next meeting on December 5th because they need more time to work on the materials requested by the technical review agent. So I invite everybody to come Thursday night and see what's happening. We have an update on the fire station and police station addition project. Sub-trade bids were due this past Thursday, November 9th. We had 12 sub-trade categories and multiple responses for each category. General bids are due this Thursday, November 16th at 2 p.m. A total of 6 addenda have been issued. Any comments, Dave? No?
No, it went very well. There was a lot of people at the bid opening, and there was a number of bids for each one, and we're relatively pleased with the prices they come in with and what we had, the architect had allocated for them. So Thursday we'll be opening the general bids, and we're looking like we might be able to get what we need for the money. Hopefully, it'll be up to the general bidders now to come in with the bid that was in the right range. So right now it's looking pretty positive. So
That sounds good. Very good.
at least for the sub bids.
Yes. Old business number 3, discuss Verizon cable license renewal. The public hearing for the Verizon cable license is set for Monday, December 4th, 2017 at 7:15 p.m. Debbie and Janet Morrissey have been working with Town Council Tom Mullen on the renewal in preparation for the hearing. Tom asked Debbie to let the selectmen know that the revisions to the Verizon license agreement are in line with the provisions in other towns' Verizon license agreements, such as the 5-year license term. HD Local Access Channel and the Verizon will continue to maintain their equipment. Debbie, Janet, and Tom will continue to work with Verizon over the next couple of weeks. So that hearing is on Monday, December 4th, 2017 at 7:15 here at the Town Hall.
Debbie, do you know offhand, what are they paying us for? Is it 4% or 5%? I don't know if it's readily noticed. No.
You know what, it's commingled with Comcast, so.
Okay, I only asked that because I noticed in tonight's newspaper, it said Salisbury was looking for an increase from 4 to 5 on the Comcast. I don't know offhand what we're getting.
We've given you the copies of this if you want to.
Yeah, I'm sure it's in here somewhere, I just didn't
But
take,
we can,
just a note, I'll take a look before next week's
Yeah,
here, and
yeah.
just an idea there.
Okay, moving on to new business. Review zoning board of appeals application for a variance filed by George and Wendy Antonucci for a conversion to a two-family dwelling at 146 Daniel Road. The Board of Selectmen reviewed this application during last week's meeting. The board found that the application was lacking pertinent information. We have received a response from the ZBA administrative assistant. The email message is attached. Copies of the assessor's property card is attached. The records show that the single-family dwelling was built in 1991 and has an in-law apartment in the basement and is in the outlying district. It is unclear as to how this application is before the ZBA for a conversion of a single-family dwelling to a two-family in the outlying district if two-family dwellings are not permitted under Section 4.4 of the zoning bylaws. The assessor's record shows that the house was built in 1991, so 4.3.2 Section B and 6.3 of the zoning bylaws don't apply. These sections of the bylaw are attached. Any further comments?
No, it just appears that two-family zoning, I see there's a letter in here to the, from the neighbors saying that there's two families living in there now. And they don't appear to be in-laws. So just, I think it's important that, as long as the ZBA has that information, and like you say, Cliff, they don't have the authority to.
No, it's clear, as Debbie has outlined, it's clear that they don't have the authority. Single-family dwellings are allowed in the outlying district, not two-family, unless you fall within that special provision for a residence existing prior to 1981, which this place doesn't. So, I think we should tell the ZBA that, in our opinion, they don't have the authority to grant the relief that's being requested, and that they should dismiss the application.
Yeah.
So I'd make a motion to that effect.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded. Do you have the motion? From
Yep,
Selectman
Mr. Pierce
Pierce?
said ZBA doesn't have the authority to grant the application under the zoning bylaws.
We can't find where there would be any provision for such an application. That's why we are confused.
Okay.
Yeah.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And we have a request from the Marine Corps to have Town Hall service at Toys for Tots drop-off site. Hello, everyone. Once again this year, my company, FLC Corp., and I are zone managers for the Toys for Tots program in a portion of Essex and Middlesex counties. Believe it or not, the U.S. Marines Toys for Tots mission is ready to begin for 2017. The great news this year is that Art Enos, U.S. Marine retired, is back at the helm, and the program will be going back to what it was a few years ago when he was in charge. The drive officially begins on November 8th, and pretty soon we'll be out dropping off collection boxes. The drive will continue through December 15th, and we will make multiple trips to pick up toys as needed. Whenever you have full boxes, simply email or call me and I will come by to pick up. I can leave the boxes for later contributions. Toys coming in after December 15th will likely be stored until next year's drive. We thank you for all your support in the past, and if you have any questions, please contact me via email, preferred, or call myself. If for some reason you're unable to participate, we would like to thank you for helping out in the past. Without you and others, like this program would not work. Like you, this program would not work. And as you see, the box is out in the hall, but we'd like to take a formal vote from the board. I'd like to call for motion so that, to approve that our participation in the Marine Corps Toys for Tots program.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to participate in the Marine Corps Toys for Tots program. All those in favor say aye.
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 I think that's been since 19, I'm not sure, 47 or 57, that the Marine Corps Reserve has been doing that. It's a good program.
It is. It's an excellent program. We had quite a bit of it at the Internal Revenue Service when I served there. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just back to Mr. Peterson under old business number 3. If you could look at page 19, I'm sorry, it's small print. We haven't changed that. It's still the 5% of the total gross revenue. which
Okay, so it
includes-
is 5%.
And that's not changed. So,
Right, no,
I'm sorry,
Salisbury was getting 4, I just noticed they were asking for 5. So I couldn't remember what we did one time.
They don't have Verizon.
No, but I mean, I
So
just
we have
But we'll do
two
both.
companies.
do the same for both, so that
So
must mean
this-
we're doing 5 for Comcast too. That was the big argument at the time, is they both wanted to be doing the same, so that's all, just a point of interest.
Okay. It's a little bit past 7:15.
Let me
Bernie,
see
could I,
They're coming in.
do you say?
They're coming in? Okay.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good
Hi.
evening.
There they are. Welcome, welcome.
Sean has it. Gift to you. Thank you.
Okay, we have a joint meeting with the Board of Assessors for a tax classification hearing. Chairman Perry calls the joint meeting with the Board of Assessors to order by calling for a motion to open the joint meeting by a roll call vote. Have a motion?
Give me the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Roll call.
Hi, Robert Murray. Hi, Cliff Pierce.
Aye, Joe Perry.
Hi, Robert Smith.
Hi, Dave Peterson.
Hi, Diane D'Angeli.
Hi, Donald Thurston.
Okay, Chairman Perry reads the tax classification hearing notice into the record. Tax classification hearing. Notice is hereby given that the Rowley Board of Selectmen and the Rowley Board of Assessors shall meet jointly on Monday, November 13th, 2017, at 7:15 PM at Town Hall, 139 Main Street, Route 1A, Rowley, Mass., to determine what tax classification rates there shall be for residential, open space, commercial, industrial, and personal property for the fiscal year 2018. All town residents are invited to attend this hearing. Rowley Board of Selectmen, Joseph Perry, Chairman. Okay, the joint meeting is open and call for a motion to open the tax classification hearing by a roll call vote.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to open the tax classification hearing by a roll call vote.
Hi, Cliff Pierce.
Hi, Robert Murray.
Aye, Joe Perry.
Hi, Robert Smith.
Hi, Dave Peterson.
Hi, Diane D'Angeli.
Hi, Donald Thurston.
Thank you.
Mr.
Chair-
Chairman, we did run that notice in the November 2nd edition of the Daily News. So it has
Okay, I
been
was just-
publicly advertised.
Okay. Chairman Perry calls upon the Board of Assessors to make a presentation on the classification of tax rates and a recommendation for the fiscal year 2018.
I'm going to speak. I'm speaking tonight. So the Board of Assessors at their 6 o'clock meeting met and voted to present a factor of 1, which amounts to a single tax rate as we've been in the past. I included a handout in your packets, and I believe they're available here. As I do every year, I have a breakdown of the average single-family home and the changes. This year, overall, it was a 1% change in the single-family class. Some went up a little more and some went down, but overall the class change was 1%. As you can see in the single-family, the value change from last year is only a $3,500 value change, up to $429 from $426. Due to that, the rate usually you see when the rates go up or down, it's based on when the values go up or down. And because the values didn't change much, but the budgets and everything went up, the rate does go up 44 cents. So it's going from $14.14 to $14.58, which amounts on the average value of $429, a $238 increase on the average value. So of course there'll be some over that, some will be under that. The only class that did see a change, and that was the condominium class, saw a 7% change. That was just a few complexes. There was some complexes that were lower value properties. It's very difficult to move into this town now, and so their values have accelerated in the market. And so a couple complexes saw higher than average increases. But overall, everything stabilized. Commercial industrial didn't see much of a change, where last year they saw a 15% change.
Oh.
There was a big bump up last year.
Right.
And so I included that, all of that in the front page on the average. It is averages, which there's always people who come out of that averages. And I always use the same examples on the next page, samples of the different style homes and the impacts on them. Consistently the same ones every year. As you can see, some of them are higher, some are lower, but overall they're pretty much in the average range, in the 200 to 250 range. And then the final page is where you see what we're here about, which is changing the rate and shifting. If we have, as we are at the flat rate, everyone pays the same rate, all classes of property. But even if you change 5%, we have enough value. You have to have 10% or more in the commercial industrial class. We have 13%. Even if we change 5%, the residents would save $47, but the commercial would go up $474. So it's a dramatic change. And then if you really wanted to shift, you'd want to shift more than 5%. But the impact on the business would be so severe, I don't think it would benefit any of us, which I've said this for years. But someday maybe we'll get to that point, but I really feel that we're not. And the assessors can speak if they're in agreement, because they are the board. But I told them I would speak for them.
What point would you say, what would be the point
I
that
would
would
think if you
consider
get to
that?
25%,
It's a long way off.
it's a long way off. But I think that would be reasonable.
Right.
We took a big hit this year. We lost $6 million value in that building that went to Peabody Essex Museum.
Right.
Yeah.
That was $90,000 off the taxes,
Wow.
off the tax rolls. Luckily, the growth ended up being higher than that.
Right.
That gave us some supporting, it backed us up a little. But that's a big hit on the taxpayers.
Big hit.
Right.
That is. So I'm looking at it as a positive thing. That if Peabody Essex Museum feels it's a town to invest in, maybe others will see it the same way. You have to look at the positive side of it. But it was a big hit on the taxes.
And the average single-family value of a home is $429,749.
$749, up
So-
from $426.
So there's nothing we can do about Peabody Essex, right? I mean, they just...
No, I talked to Salem before they even, when I heard they were coming, to see what they do, to see if they could get any agreements, any pilots, and they've had no luck.
Yeah, they do.
And so I tried to talk to them.
Salem residents, I believe, do get free admission to the museum.
That's
so
what they get.
That would be a nice thing that we could, if we could
I
get that.
asked about having, and that's going to be a private building over there. So it's something the selectmen could reach out to them about the residents of Rowley getting access to the Salem Museum.
Right.
But that
Right.
building over
Right.
there
No,
is
no,
the
it's
only
just a-
thing I could talk to them
That's just a
about.
warehouse, right?
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
they are going to have the Phillips Library in the front.
Oh.
But
Oh.
that didn't seem to go over.
Oh,
They didn't. I had to say. I tried. But I think
Yeah,
if
I
it came
think
from
we could
you,
approach,
you could approach.
Maybe,
Maybe
yes.
that would be something they'd be willing to do.
right? So the recommendation from the Board of Assessors
Is a flat rate,
is the flat rate
yes.
of $14.58. Any questions, comments?
$14.58.
$14.58.
So our commercial was 13%.
13.64%.
This year, is that a growth from last year, or is it
Just
pretty much
minor.
stayed the
It
same?
just allocated differently, minor.
Yeah.
We had more last year. It went up last year from the year before,
Mm.
when the values went up, but not this year. Everything's pretty stabilized, which is good.
Okay.
Give me a motion to accept the tax rate of 14.58.
Any of the, excuse me,
Yeah, well, go ahead. I'm
any
sorry.
audience members have anything they wish to say? Hearing none? Yes, Bernie.
So it looks like there's a across the board 3% increase, roughly?
I don't look at it that way. I look at valuation. So valuation, there was a 1% change. I don't look at the impact, because it's hard to do that, because some $700,000 houses are going to be nowhere in comparison to a lower value house. So the percentage, it's skewed differently that way. I don't look at it that way. I look at just valuation. That's my job, is value.
But the general public basically going to face a 3% increase.
Well, some
Some
will,
will,
and
some
some
won't.
will, some won't.
Some will, some won't.
Some might get more, some might get
Yeah,
less.
exactly. It's not as...
All depends on how your property's value
It's
is
not as simple
valued.
as that.
It's not an easy percentage
Yeah,
just to
that's
say
what I
across the.
meant, yeah.
In other words, if we tell them it's 3%, then
It's not gonna
somebody's,
be.
it's not
Yeah.
gonna,
It's not for
The
everyone.
rate per thousand has gone up 3%. Yes and no?
That may be true, but that doesn't mean that the person's individual tax bill is going to change 3%.
Over the next couple of years, we're gonna have significant tax increase to the town.
Yeah.
Is there any way that we can, make Raleigh open for business and invite and look for commercial?
I think you'd
Business
have
to
to work with the planning board, and see if they'd be willing to change any of the zoning, and
Because
expand the zoning district, maybe up Route 1 further, and that's if the residents want it. I think that's the only way. We have a limited retail district,
right?
maybe expand that, and that's the only way I think you could do it. But the residents have to want it too.
Well, that's true, but I mean, it's gonna be a significant burden
Mhm.
on the residents in the town.
Yeah, and there's a lot of vacant land in Raleigh, and there could be development on a
Yep.
lot of vacant land in Raleigh. There's changes happening, families are changing. Land's gonna become available, large tracts of land, and that will be development.
But-
And that's good, but at the same time, that has an
Well, I
impact
mean,
on
it's
everybody.
it's a double-edged sword,
Mhm.
but the burden, I mean, if you look at some of these, the tax rates, on an average house now, can you imagine what it's gonna be in 4 years when
I agree.
we bring the,
It's harder and harder to buy a home in
for the
this
fire
town
station
under
and the
400,000.
school? Yes,
Because they haven't gone on the tax rate yet.
Right.
yeah,
None of it has.
I mean, and if we should be looking at this now,
Businesses are looking, but you just have to be able to be open to have them come in.
no, we need something, again, we
Well-
need Raleigh open for business.
I think we are open for business, I think.
But do we have the land to,
Well, there is a fair amount of open land even in the retail district that hasn't been developed yet. There's a lot of area that could be redeveloped and upgraded, with more valuable properties, I would think, in the retail district. Yes, you could expand the commercial district up to the Newbury line, but I think you'd get a very marginal return, because I think as you get further up the highway, the quality of the development gets lower and
a
lower.
lot of marshland up there.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
get the-
it's just, there'd be small businesses that don't generate a lot of value, in my opinion. So I think it makes more sense to try to have a more compact commercial district. And, basically, we're waiting for companies to come in. I mean, what else can we do? But I think they are coming in at a steady pace. We just approved a hotel, which is going to generate some
Right.
significant revenue for the town. There's some other businesses we've just approved. And so, I mean, I don't know what else we can do, really. as a practical matter.
I
And I
think-
don't think rezoning is really the answer.
You know, it's like Didac, I don't know what Didac pays, but we're gonna lose that building. For business, that's a business that we're gonna lose.
Sadly, when the town did try to increase the zoning up to the Weathersfield line and it was voted down, Ipswich Bay Glass wanted to build 3 more buildings. Luckily, they were able to add on, but we could have had 3 more buildings on that land that now has 3 homes.
Right.
And he would have been accessing off Route 1, not off Weathersfield. But that zoning change didn't go through. So there was an attempt to, before by the planning board, to continue the zoning, and it didn't go forward.
Well, we did expand his property.
You did it now, but
And it was-
back then,
That was approved. That
his
allowed
plan was
allowed
to
for
do-
additional buildings.
yeah, that worked
I don't know
out.
if we ever presented a proposal to expand it up to Weathersfield Street. I
And I
don't
think it
recall
voted at
that.
town meeting, it was voted down.
Really? Maybe before my time, I don't know. But, I don't know, I think we've done pretty well in terms of attracting business. We have a lot of high-quality businesses. You know, it's tough to get more, that's all, I mean.
It is.
Yeah, a lot of it's location, in other
Yeah.
words, they wanna be within 128, or they want to come up this way, you know, like that new data center out there that is remodeled on Route 1 across from Geno's
He did a
there.
nice job.
I mean, he was down within 128, and they wanted to get out of there and move up this way, so they grabbed that building and put a lot of money into it.
I think the planning board should look at this again, and look at the commercial and retail area, and see, again, I'm just saying, you know, I just look at this and I worry about there's, you know, people been in town for years and years and years, and they're retired now, and they may have to move, may not be able to stay here in the town.
That's what I hear.
That's not, you know, we should be looking out for them too. Again, I get, it's a double-edged sword, I understand that, but, you know, in with the schools, the fire station coming online, new fire station, and every year, you know, it's striking.
Well, the thing is, Bob, and we talked about it, we've already got a letter from the school department saying they're increasing their budget before they even start is gonna be $2 million, so I mean, that's gonna kill us.
Yeah.
Absolutely gonna kill us, and that's why we went, before we even knew that, that's why we went up to Triton and tried to talk to them to say, hey, we're gonna go bankrupt here if this keeps up. And I know you look in you read the newspaper, that little weekly paper, and you read the real estate sales. There are no houses below 500,000, very few that you see that are sold for below 5, except some of those condos on the lower expensive condos, but I mean, that's it, everything else is, and yet the houses are selling. I mean, you drive around and people are putting them up for sale, and they're under agreement or sold in a relatively short time. So I think what we're getting is a higher income people, and the older people that on fixed incomes and the lower income people just can't afford to live in Raleigh anymore. I mean, it's just,
But
we're just priced
there's
right
also a
out.
positive. The investment in the public safety, the investment in the school.
Right.
The investment in the infrastructure will make the community more appealing too.
Yeah.
So it's not all negative. You'll be an impact
Oh,
on the
no,
taxes.
no.
But people will also see that as, wow, this is the place to live. Look at everything, it's all updated, we feel safer here, the kids can get better. There's a lot of positive to it. It's just nobody wants to see their taxes go up
Yeah.
dramatically.
I mean,
Oh, it's like the school and the police and fire, I mean, they're definitely positive for the community, but it's just, we're the ones that sit here and come up with how are we gonna pay for all this
Yeah.
stuff, and it's just, it's difficult.
the infrastructure, you know, for years and years and years, the can was kicked down the road, and we had to turn around and do something. I mean, when people really got a good look of where our fire trucks were kept, I mean, it was all, I think the public said, that's alarming. You know, we have a big investment in those vehicles. Well,
I don't think it hurts, Bob, if we ask the planning board to
Yeah.
at least take a new look at how the zoning is, and if there's some changes that can be presented to the taxpayers. When they see their bills go up $1,000 after the school and the police department comes online, they may be more open to, you know, but we need to do it now. I mean, it does no good to
no,
rezone it 3 years from now because we're gonna be past. We should have looked 2 years ago, actually, but But I think, I don't have a problem with us sending them.
Our job is to
Just
be-
asking them to take a look at certain areas that could be rezoned. It may pay off something, it may not, I don't know. Unless we look at it, we're never gonna know.
I think we should, our job is to be proactive, not to sit here and be stagnant. So. I'd like to make a motion that we send a letter over to the planning board.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to send a letter to the planning board from the Board of
Yeah,
Selectmen.
just to ask them, take a look at
Yeah.
it.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Need a motion on the tax rate?
Any further discussion? Okay.
Joe?
Joe?
Bernie's got his hand up.
Bernie?
So how much revenue are we going to generate, is the tax rate going to generate in fiscal year 18? I mean, I assume that that's how the tax rate was determined, an understanding of what revenue we were going to make.
$14,644,000.
Sorry, again, it's 14.6.
Oh, the total amount to raise is $21,840,000.
And how much did this year's tax rate?
I don't have that in front of me. I don't have that in front of me. But the budget it only went up to 2.5% that's required, allowed by law, and $145,000 from new growth. Those are the only increases. Because none of the overrides are on the taxes. So those two factors are what caused it to go up.
So just 140,000 of new growth?
145,000 in tax dollars. In tax dollars.
Thank you.
Okay, at the conclusion of the discussion, Chairman Perry calls for a motion to close the public hearing by a roll call vote.
Give me that motion.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Roll call.
Aye, Robert Murray. Aye, Cliff Pierce.
Aye, Joe Perry.
Robert Snow.
Hi, Dave Peterson.
I, Diane D'Angeli.
I, Donald Thurston.
Okay, once the hearing is closed, Chairman Perry calls for a motion on the determination of classification rates for residential, open space, commercial, industrial, and personal property for fiscal year 2018 by a roll call vote.
I'll give you the motion.
To set the
Set the rate at the level recommended by the Board of Assessors.
single rate.
I'll second.
Single rate, yeah.
I guess.
Motion has been made and seconded.
Sign it? Yep, right under it if you want.
All those in favor say aye.
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 By a roll call.
Aye, Robert Murray. Aye, Cliff Pierce.
Aye, Joe Perry.
Aye, Robert Snow.
Hi, Dave Peterson.
I, Diane D'Angeli.
I, Donald Thurston.
Okay. So we have set the tax classification rate at $14.58 for the fiscal year 18. After the vote is taken, Chairman Perry calls for a motion to adjourn the joint meeting of the Board of Selectmen and Board of Assessors by a roll call vote.
I'll give you the motion.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Roll call.
Aye, Robert Murray. Aye, Cliff Pierce.
Aye, Joe Perry.
Aye, Robert Snow.
Hi, Dave Peterson.
I, Diane D'Angeli.
I, Donald Thurston.
Thank you very much.
Just make my usual speech that I'm very happy with, you guys do a great job over there. And your executive assistant, what's your title, Sean?
Me?
Yeah, the chief
Principal
assessor.
assessor.
Principal assessor, he does a great job and does a good job with dealing with the public. I'm sure he gets lots of angry people.
I do.
Just wait.
He puts up with a lot, we appreciate the fact that.
Yes, we
he does
do.
Next
the
March
job
is
he
my
does.
30th year. I've dealt with it all.
Hey, don't say that, it'll always be
Yeah,
a new one
I've dealt
come
with a
in.
lot.
We thank you very much, anyway.
Yes, thank you.
Diane, Don. Sean,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you.
folks, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. See you next year.
Okay, we're just a little bit late for our 7:30 appointment. Steve Piero to discuss expansion of the American Barbecue Restaurant. Steve Pirro has requested the Board of Selectmen to cancel his appointment scheduled for this evening's meeting. He will meet with the board at some point in the future after he's had an opportunity to review his proposal with the technical town departments and boards. And 7:45. We have an appointment with Joseph McCarthy to discuss a letter of support or non-opposition for state approval for adult-use marijuana license. Mr. McCarthy met with the Board of Selectmen during the October 23rd meeting to discuss his interest in opening an adult-use marijuana facility at 264 Newburyport Turnpike. Email request from prior meeting with Mr. McCarthy is attached. He is requesting a letter of support or non-opposition for his adult-use marijuana license. The Board of Selectmen instructed Mr. McCarthy at the October 23rd meeting to meet with Police Chief Scott Dumas for the purpose of discussing his security plan. Mr. McCarthy will update the board on his progress. He submitted the attached draft security plan this afternoon for inclusion in the meeting packet. Mr. McCarthy?
Yes, sir. Can I sit down tonight?
Yeah.
There, instead
Please.
of,
Can you come up forward?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Good evening, Joseph McCarthy from the Ipswich Pharmaceutical Associates, Ipswich, Massachusetts.
You can sit down, that's fine.
I would like to give you an update since we last met. The proposed location that we had spoke of, and I had an agreement with Gino at the 265 Newburyport Turnpike has changed. Gino did not want to allow me to, I could not afford to rent it until the commitment came forward with the town. So what I have done is moved on with that location. We do have a letter. A couple months ago, I had a letter of intent for a location at Adams Mall, and I had submitted some paperwork with the planning board in Kirk indicating that we had put a deposit on that location, and under the conditions that we would be operating around the downriver's seasonal operating days and time, which means that we would close when they're opened and just use our facility for a delivery service so that there would be no traffic around that opening time. So with that, we do have a letter of intent, and I had put a deposit down on that location. It's a 2,100 square foot retail space at the Adams Square Mall. With that letter of intent, we would like to work around the operation of the seasonal hours of the Downriver Ice Cream. During that close time, we would allow ourselves the ability to reorganize, to do deliveries from the location with no retail location operating during that time of the ice cream facility, which is located at the other end. We are underneath the dog veterinarian at the farther end, next to the, there's an auto parts store there also. That's where we have put the deposit down on. With regards to our security director, Kevin McTeague, the retired state trooper from New Jersey who is in charge of the electronic operations, the manning operations, he had, his prior commitments had not allowed him to touch base with the chief until today. The chief has an appointment with us on the 21 November of 2017 at 9 o'clock in the morning. And with that, I also dropped off that same security package to the chief of police today, so we would have some time to review it. I know the package was dropped off rather late, and I don't intend for you gentlemen to make any decision. I would like you to look at the package deeper than just a couple of hours prior to this meeting. So with that, we are going to discuss with the chief the security arrangements. The security arrangements will be everywhere from what the commitments and the requirements of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And that entails a double operating base, cloud operation, to where there are two separate alarm systems monitored by two separate alarm companies that the chief has accessibility to 24/7. The alarm system contains of interlock system, locking keypads, remote accesses, limited accesses, and motion detectors. It is designed by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, so it meets all the requirements of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And again, it would be up to the chief of Dumas to approve that. Along with that is, we feel that we would like to offer also the chief some type of details, maybe some part-time details at night, to allow maybe some extra income for some of these offices in town. We also are leaving it up to the chief, because we don't particularly understand the citizens of Raleigh. We don't know who could fly under the radar. Everybody has got a query check that goes to, and it'll be the chief of police who has the last say of anybody that would come into Raleigh as an employee of the Ipswich Pharmaceuticals.
Oh, as an employee.
Absolutely. A last say on all our operations, 100%. If the chief would feel that he would want an extra detail there, then the extra detail will be given. And the details, of course, are the extra overtime, however way the town package operates. With that, I also wanted to go over a little bit of the, and I'm going to also address this with the chief there, of the host package that we have to offer with the town. We already have a host package with our cultivation town, Hinsdale, Massachusetts, western Massachusetts. It is way west. I mean, like exit number 2 and back to 20 and 8, and then up north another. It's 40 miles off of the pike, east and north. So, and we do have a host agreement with them for first medicinal, and that's what our intent would be: first to open up a medicinal shop, and then to allow us to get support from the town to move forward with the recreational licensing. And they have given us permission for the medicinal cultivation and the recreational cultivation of the cannabis. So, and with that, our host agreement is, and it would be the same host agreement that we offer every town, is the 2.5% of the gross that comes out of that facility. Hinsdale would get 2.5% of what would be probably somewhere in the neighborhood of a 1.2 million base on sales, or maybe 3, and they get a 3% on the tax of a recreational, because that's what the Commonwealth has put on the tax base. I believe is a 17%, and then a 3%, and another excise tax for the recreation. So each town gets that 3% of the state tax also. With that, the host agreement in Hinsdale is a minimum of $50,000 a year, not to exceed $250,000 a year for the first 5 years, and then to be renegotiated after the 5th year to most probably a higher base, because if we're fortunate enough to grow out there and grow the facility, they are on the same scale as all the others of gross sales from that facility. And the gross sales in a facility such as Raleigh, in the first 12 months of us opening, which would be, if you open in a July 1st of a 18, say, by July 1st of 19, say you open in 19, the sales would be in 2020, somewhere in the 4.5 to 6.5 projected retail sales. With that, I believe at 2.5 to 3%, it's somewhere around 115 to 125,000 to the town as a host agreement. That's pretty much all I have to say tonight. I just wanted to give you an update that we are meeting with the chief, and during the interim, would like to reschedule something maybe next month, or if that's not, Christmas month might be a tough month there, so.
Okay, Mr. McCarthy, I'm just going through the package here, and I see the status update for the planning board, but that's Ipswich.
That was Ipswich, that's correct.
So you don't have anything for Raleigh yet?
I did approach the planning board, but I haven't submitted any project with the planning board yet. What I will do is, once I meet with the chief, then what we'll do is we'll put the combination of the, what the projection is for the planning boards. We will talk to the planning board with regards to if the location was acceptable, traffic surveys, what we would do with regards to cleaning up the facility. A sign would be minimum amount of sign with only the Ipswich Pharmaceutical on it. No ornaments, no neons, nothing of that, very non-pretentious. We really don't want to have a lot of attention because people who know come. The advertisement is not something that is out there in the public. It's out on the internet, pretty much.
That would require quite a renovation to that building at the Adams Mall for your security, wouldn't it?
The security, we already got a price on that. The security cost would run somewhere around $45,000 for that. With the ceilings, with all the makeup that's there, the steel beams, we have a motion detectors that would be a triple layered area, initial motion, and then a braking. So that has been designed by Alarmex, has designed some of our, and I would want them to actually deal, and they have too, in other cases, dealt with the chief directly on the alarm procedures and how they access it themselves. The chiefs, I mean. So I would like to request another date in the next month or so, if that would be
Okay,
okay after the
I
chief.
got a
Wait.
question for you before we get there.
Okay.
You're saying you're gonna close when the ice cream place is open.
That's correct, that would
So
be.
the ice cream place opens in, say, May 1st, I don't know exactly thereabouts.
It,
Closes probably the middle of September, maybe the 1st of October. They're pretty much open, I believe, 11 till 9 o'clock at night. That doesn't leave you many hours to be open.
yes, I saw on the sign it was 1 o'clock to, I think, 9.
Okay, but I mean, that severely limits your ability to be open.
I understand that does, but I do believe that showing that we are going to be good neighbors when it comes to this, we're willing to work around the scheduling, and if there would be another location that would come up in the town, we would be willing to move to that location. If it would be, if there is an extension of the retail location, or if there is another more viable place that we would be able to open during those closed operating times, but we would certainly be willing to close during those times. The 1 to 9 is what they posted. I asked them. So, and I do appreciate you asking me that. There is a lot of business to be lost, but we do feel that this is a new industry. This is not something that I don't think you can just jump on top of people. It's a break-in period. And if we're not doing it properly, if we're not doing it with regards to the way the chief and the fire chief wants it, then we're not good neighbors. We're not good corporate people. So that's why I was...
Where's your place in Ipswich now?
It's on 31 Turnpike Road.
Oh, it's right on the turnpike.
And it's in, the other place is on Bullets Crossing, Hinsdale, Massachusetts. It's a mouthful. And that's where the processing.
Is the Ipswich place open now, or?
Not yet, it isn't, no, but we
When's
have
that
our
gonna be open?
special permits. We have just secured a substantial amount of financing from a family out of New Haven. It's called the Zacks family. what they have done is moved us forward in this operation here. With multiple locations and particularly so with the cultivation location.
Okay, so we're talking about, we have, you're meeting with the chief on the 21st,
21, yes, sir.
and we don't have a meeting on the 27th.
No, we have meetings on November 20th, December 4th, 11th, and 18th.
4th, 11th, and 18th.
And I just want to remind the board that the planning board will be holding a public hearing on recreational marijuana. I know, it's unclear, because you did say adult use, does that mean?
Yes, ma'am, that's the same as the...
So I don't know, continued discussion should probably wait until the planning board's had a hearing, because they're trying to set up that, Mr.
Have they
Pierce
set
can
up that
elaborate,
hearing?
the zoning bylaw.
I don't know whether they have or not. No.
Kirk Baker's is I believe intends to hold it, maybe the meeting, whatever, the second meeting in December for the planning board, the public hearing, that will be on the town meeting warrant for the zoning, which would restrict recreational marijuana.
Oh, for the zoning article, right.
Marijuana facilities in the
Right.
retail district.
Yeah.
So, if we're getting into those discussions, I would just caution the board to take that into consideration, that the planning board's trying to work on this so that it is kept in one area of town. And I believe it would require special permit and
Yes.
things like that, that the planning board would oversee a lot of the operations and access and things like that.
But if we put it off beyond the 18th of December, it would be go into the new year.
Yes, if we're just discussing the medical marijuana piece, we do have the zoning bylaw for that.
Well, there is no recreational use at this time, right?
No, it's,
None at this moment.
What's the I know I read articles in the
March.
paper, but
Actually, July 1st was the, I think the cultivation applications start somewhere in March or April, is
Well,
that correct?
The Cannabis Control Commission is, I've got a deadline, I believe, in March of releasing regulations.
That's
and-
correct.
and by April 1st, and then applications can start to be
Right.
filed with the state. What the planning board is trying to do is have their zoning bylaw on the April 30th town meeting warrant, which will be then retroactive to the date their public hearing notice was published in the paper. So there will be some, and that will require that special permitting process and a lot of, a clear process on how these recreational marijuana will.
right now, you're just looking for medical, right?
That's correct. We'd like to start with medical, with the hopes that we could,
So we already have the medical regulations in
zoning.
effect,
Yes.
And that's-
so we don't have to wait for the planning board for the medical part of it.
no.
So we could,
So if you meet with the chief on the 21st, and we're not meeting on the 27th, we could meet either the 4th or the 11th.
maybe,
I would schedule the 11th.
maybe the 11th,
Or the 18th.
maybe the 11th would be enough time, and yet,
well,
December 11th?
I think it would be enough time because it would be up to the chief. That's, I would want him to be clear
Right.
and.
yeah, I think he's probably pretty well knows what he was looking
Yes,
for and not looking for, so
He had a good conversation.
as long as you guys were in agreement, I think, like I say, my only concern is that the ice cream place and the limited numbers of hours, I think is gonna be a problem for you.
Yeah, I do too.
You know, Gino's was a better location as far
It is,
as,
if I can get a hold of Gino again today, I put in a couple of phone calls. We're willing to sign a contract right away with Gino as soon as we get a commitment from the town. And I think, to be honest with you, that would be a great location
yeah, I think it's a better
for us.
location.
So,
But it's up to you to see
if-
what you can do.
okay, I would work with, see if I can get a hold of Gino to see if we can get that commitment for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you, it's up to you, it's not,
No, I'm trying-
it's not up to us, it's just that it sounds like you're gonna be severely limited in that location and in the Adams Mall and,
Yep.
but that's your decision, it's not.
All right, then what is the date that you think?
December 11th?
We have meetings every Monday in December, except for December 25th.
We'll set it for the 11th, if you
Right.
can't, get here for that, if you aren't ready for the 11th, contact the office here.
Right. Okay.
We can reschedule that.
But the next meeting date would be the 18th, then we don't meet again until January.
No, I understand. That's, I think January with the holidays and all. Is that okay with?
December 11th, and then we'll be in touch to confirm.
All right. December 11th?
Yeah.
December 11th.
Okay, thank you
December
very
11th.
much.
Bernie?
So is the location in the Adams Mall, is that on the Route 1 side or the back side of that building?
And the forward side, the Route 1 side,
Okay, so it's visible from Route 1.
correct.
Anything further?
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
May I be excused?
Yep.
Certainly
Okay.
can. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving, everybody, too.
Okay, we have announcements. Pine Grove School Project Community Public Hearing is scheduled for Thursday, November 16th, 2017, at 7 p.m. in the all-purpose room at the Pine Grove School. Household Hazardous Waste Day for Raleigh residents is scheduled for Saturday, November 18th, 2017, from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at the Highway Department facility at 40 Independent Street. Friends of the Raleigh Public Library 6th Annual Holiday Basket Raffle. The Friends are seeking donations of gift baskets of a retail value of at least $50, and raffle tickets will be sold at the library starting on November 18th. The drawing will be held at 1 p.m. on December 16th, 2017. There is information on the Pine Grove School Project, and that's available on the town's website at www.townofraleigh.net. The town has the following vacancies: Open Space Committee, 1 seat; Fence Viewer, 3 positions; Wood, Lumber, and Bark Inspector; Zoning Board of Appeals Associate, 3 seats; Parks and Recreation Committee, 1 seat; Deputy Shellfish Constables, 2 positions. For more information on these positions, please contact the Selectmen's office at 948-2372. The Raleigh Food Pantry is in need of donations. Donations can be left at the Raleigh Public Library. The food pantry is open on Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and on Thursdays from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.